Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Sonja Wood, and this is the Oikos Family Podcast, episode number 68. Well, we are in very unusual times. As I sit here in our little booth recording here, you'll notice that this is not a video. This time, this podcast is just audio only. And it is going to be as such for a little while. I don't know how long that little while is. There's a lot that we don't know how long it is. How long is our lockdown, and how long will the certain level that we're in at the moment, which is level 4, how long will it last? And what does that mean to all of us? We just don't have the answers. And that's why on the Oikos Facebook page a little while ago, I put the question to everybody: what is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore? And thank you to those of you who answered that. Everybody gave an answer. Not everybody. The people who gave an answer was a little varied, but it all meant the same thing. One person would say the Lord. Another one said Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Another one would say the Word of God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So I wanted to start with that today because of these tremendously uncertain times. I just wanted to chat to you today and talk to you about some things that are not uncertain, especially considering how much is uncertain. Let's talk a little bit about what isn't uncertain, and that is the Word of God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Isn't that fantastic? If you're a home educating parent and you're listening to this, you might be wondering whether the curriculum you're used to using is still going to be available to you. If you can get it, when will it come? Are you going to be able to order it? All these uncertainties. And yet, one thing that you know that you have is the Word of God, a Bible in your home. And when you go to it, it doesn't change. It's the same words, yesterday, today, and forevermore. There's not a concern for you, I would hope, whether you're wondering whether you're going to be able to get the Word into your life, because you have it. You have it in your home. If it happens to be that you don't have it in your home, a Bible, well, there's not much uncertainty about that either, in the fact that you will be able to get it somewhere, even if somebody gifts you with a Bible. You will be able to get a Bible. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you. But many other things could be a problem with regard to whether you can get them or not get them. And so because of that, I would like to share with you about the importance of the Word and how spending time there is going to encourage and support and strengthen and prepare you and your children for times that are unknown times such as what we are in at the moment. If we think about this time that we're in right now, as in this time of a global pandemic, how are we handling that? What is helping us? Is it, how far ahead we've gone with our maths book? Or is it whether the children are able to get along without upsetting one another because they can't go and do their usual things and their life has changed and they're a little bit stuck indoors instead of being able to do all their other things, their extramurals. And so it's testing relationships possibly and characters, and that's where the testing's coming. It's not testing them in as far as the academics is concerned, because if they were in school, they're not anymore. If you're at home and you've got to the end of your curriculum and you're not sure how to get the next one, and so there aren't tests there with regard to sitting down and doing a test because you don't have the book to do the test from, possibly. So maybe it's different kinds of testing that is happening at the moment, as in testing relationships and characters. And how do you get through that, and where do you go for help for that? You go to the Word. And that's why I wanted to encourage you today in that, to say, go to the Word. Just go to the Word. That's a place that is a certainty. You can go there. You can call on God for help. He is present always in your times of trouble. His Word promises us that. The promises in His Word are for real. It's the truth. It's not a promise that there's uncertainty. Like, how could they have promised us that they were going to X, Y, Z, but now they're not? Because the they is man. And man can't always fulfill their promises. Even their best intentions might not be able to be fulfilled because maybe a grandparent promised her grandchildren that she would be doing something special for one of the grandchildren's birthdays, but now she can't because she's stuck wherever she is. And so now the promise she made to her grandchild can't be fulfilled. So even promises made by man, even with the best heart's intention, might not be able to be fulfilled. But God's promises are the truth. God's promises will never fail us. He has promised that He will not, and so He doesn't. Even when we think that we're feeling like He's failed us, He hasn't actually. So even if somebody who's listening is thinking, well, I'm not feeling very supported right now, I'm actually asking, where is God? Because where is He in all of this mess in this world? And you might be asking yourself that question. And I'm here to remind you that He actually is present, even if you feel He's not. And while I'm sharing that, I suddenly remembered that last week we had a delivery done to Oikos, because we are trying to keep things going, even though we're on very, very, very short staff, because we only allowed 30% of the people back. And so that's very few of us are there trying to just keep things moving along for you. But we can't promise anything because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Anyway, back to the delivery. So there was this delivery being made, and this one guy that was the driver of the truck that was doing the delivery, he arrived at Oikos base and he said, "Is this place a Christian place?" and we said, yes. And we've got scriptures on the walls and stuff. And he says, well, he wants to talk to somebody about where is God. And it was so interesting because he actually came to do a paper delivery, and we ended up having a discussion about faith and how he can believe in God at this time, even though he was disputing that. He was saying, no, he doesn't think he can, because where's God? Why is this happening? So we chatted about that and about how it's not always comfortable. God doesn't just make it comfortable for us always, because with the treasures we get when we are in the valleys and when things aren't as comfortable as we want them to be is actually a greater treasure than if it hadn't been that. So that's why through this time of this global pandemic, I have been encouraging people to do the treasure hunts and to look for the treasures. And a week or more ago, I put on the Oikos Facebook page, I put, let's make it our ambition. I don't know if I wrote that actually specifically like that, but basically I was encouraging people to find the treasures in this time. And I ended with, let's find a treasure a day. And so I'd like to follow on with that and just say, if you want to go looking for that treasures, you will find them. But they might not be the kind of treasure you think you need or you hope to find. It might be something unexpected. Like you might find the treasure in seeing two of your children, having a nice time together, playing a game where they're not having a difficulty, whereby they're becoming annoyed with each other. Instead, they're just playing nicely. And that, looking at that and observing that, could just be the treasure for the day, for that particular day. So please look for the treasures. I'm sure you're going to find them, even if they're not what you were seeking. I'm just hoping that your eyes will be opened to new kinds of treasures. I know mine certainly have been. I know we here are looking at things quite differently, and I'm very grateful to the Lord for that. We're looking at the value of being able to continue to serve families in this global pandemic time. Before, we might have taken that for granted a bit. Maybe we thought serving you and getting your resources to you was just something we did. But now it's a treasure. It's like we're so grateful that we can. We definitely have a deeper sense of gratitude to being able to serve you. It's not something that we are taking quite as for granted as perhaps we were before. I'm certain of that. I feel as though we are more aware of the blessing. And so I'm experiencing a sense of deeper and deeper awareness of gratitude and a deeper awareness of the treasures that we were maybe not seeing before. So yes, it's not necessarily comfortable and it's a bit, more challenging than it used to be. But I don't know, I think those challenges are for our good. Okay, now I'm thinking of something else, which you could call a challenge, but maybe it's not really a challenge, but that is At this podcast today, I very much wanted a guest to come and join me and sit and talk. And the guest had some questions, and then I was going to answer those questions, and we were going to hope that this chatting together, two moms talking about the home educating lifestyle and being a family and the difficulties that people are facing perhaps in that, and just bringing whatever support and encouragement we could. But I couldn't have a guest, could I? Because we're still in lockdown and we've still got restrictions and regulations that we'd like to comply with. We don't want to do something against that. And so because of that, I'm talking to you on my own. And I would like to be talking to you with my guest. And so I hope that somewhere along the line, a little bit further down the road, I will be able to have a guest, and we will be able to have these podcasts shared with you in a way where there's a couple of us sitting talking rather than it being just me. And for me, that would be a huge gift to be able to have someone here as a guest. But in the meantime, it's just me and you listening, and I'm still feeling very, very grateful for the privilege of being able to talk to you in this way. Even though it's something we've been doing for a while now, I still value it greatly, the opportunity and the privilege of being able to talk to you through these means. And I'm especially grateful now. You see, it's even a deeper treasure that I can actually do this in this time where there's this lockdown, and I can sit and I can talk to you today in your situation, in your home, wherever you are. So I really do appreciate you listening and being part of following these podcasts. So thank you for that. But let me encourage you again to go back to the treasures. Let me go back there and just say that I really do hope that you will find treasures. I'm going to share a couple more treasures that I have discovered in this time with you, just a couple more to leave with you. And the one is, we have been puzzlers all our lives, but we stopped doing puzzles a few years back just because circumstances changed, and we didn't do puzzles as much as we always had a family puzzle going. And then we stopped doing puzzles. And because of lockdown, I'm absolutely certain it's because of lockdown, we took out a puzzle that in the past when we looked at it, we thought, oh no, this is just, it's too big a commitment, this puzzle. It looks so difficult and it's so many pieces, and we don't normally take on such a big undertaking as this particular puzzle. But we thought, oh, well, we can now, so let's do this. And so we took out the puzzle and we started it. And we so thoroughly enjoyed it. We listened to a couple of audiobooks while we were doing the puzzle. And we got so immersed in this puzzle time that it's really been a treasure. It's one of those gifts that I feel has been part of lockdown. And it's a strange thing because, there's no reason we couldn't have done the puzzle before. In other words, before lockdown, we could have just done the same. We could have made the time and we could have made the commitment. But somehow or other, because of lockdown, because other things that we would be ordinarily doing, we weren't doing. So now suddenly we felt, oh, well, we can fit this in now. And we did this, and now we've experienced the treasure of it. We found the treasure. And so we're questioning ourselves and saying, why didn't we make the time for this before? So that's a little treasure. Well, actually, it's a big treasure that I can share with you. And at the same time, encourage you to maybe get a puzzle out. I mean, I know you must have, if you've been following this podcast, you know how passionate we are about family board games. And we do that ongoing. I mean, that's not something that we stopped doing. It's such a great pleasure to sit down and play a board game. So we do it. But this adding the puzzles to our pleasure and family time has really been a gift. So I hope as a family you're going to be finding these treasures that you otherwise wouldn't have even had it not been for this challenging time, or this time that is considered to be difficult. Because as I've said, and the difficulties is very often where we found the greatest treasures. So thank you for this time that we've had together. Thank you for being with me while I shared with you on this podcast, this audio-only podcast. As I mentioned, they are going to be audio-only for a little while. However long that little while is, we're not sure. But the next few, at least, podcasts will be audio-only. I do hope to have my guest along to share with me and share together at one of our podcasts in the future, or a few of our podcasts in the future. But for now, thank you for joining me, and I do hope you will be able to join me at episode 69. Oh, before I go, the other thing we're doing that's changed a bit with the podcasts is the fact that we're doing them every second week rather than every week. Again, that's just circumstances. I love to sit here and talk to you, but I also would like to be able to help the few people that are working very hard while I'm sitting talking to you. They're making books for you. So I'd like to be able to give them more assistance and support that, the practical in that regard, just to give them some help there because it's quite a load. And so I was thinking about it and thinking instead of spending the time, the extra time doing podcasts, I should rather spend that extra time in helping them. And so that way is a way that I'll be helping you because hopefully for those of you who have ordered resources through Oikos, those of you who are waiting for those resources, at least I will be able to assist you in that way by going and making the books rather than doing the podcasts. So for the foreseeable future, however long that is, we're not sure, I will be doing the podcast every second week so as to afford me more time to help there at the print house, at the base. We call it Oikos base. It's actually a print house. Okay, so that's the story for now. It will change because things here on earth are changing constantly, as we know. But thank the Lord that His word is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So we're so grateful for the consistency of that, and we know that it will not change. His word remains the same today and forevermore, and yesterday, today, and forevermore. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful week finding those treasures. Oh, won't you do me a favor? Please would you share your treasures, the treasure a day that you found. If you found a treasure today or tomorrow or sometime in the week that is so precious that you feel will bless somebody else, won't you just put it there on the Oikos Facebook page? I'm just saying that now because that's what comes to mind. I think that's the best place to put it. If you would rather not, you can just email me, Sonja, Sonja, at oikosfamily.co.za. Email me and tell me about your treasure, and then I'll share it in a podcast or I'll put it onto the Facebook page to share with others. I just think we should share our treasures. So if you've got one to share, please do so, and I will share it on because that's what we can do to encourage and support one another. Share our treasures. Again, thank you for listening and thank you for being with me, and be blessed. Bye for now.